it's Presley at ActOutGames.com here, and today is Craft Monday, and we are going to be showing you how to make this really cute Bantha from Star Wars, from Burton's Star Wars craft book. Burton is. We did an interview with her not that long ago, and there's a link in the doobly-doo and on the end cards. She's really cool, and if you aren't already following her on Twitter, you totally should be. She's basically the way that we keep up with geek culture because she writes articles and stuff like that on it.
A lot of CNET articles on cool stuff going on.
Yeah, so she's really cool, and she wrote this Star Wars craft book because she does a whole lot of crafty things, and it's really cool and has all sorts of cool crafts in it, like this Bantha plushie. On
the cover of this book, it's Darth Vader holding scissors made out of lightsabers to do his crafting, which I like to think that if Darth Vader is doing crafting, he's doing it with lightsaber scissors.
Yes.
So I think it's a really clever book cover,
lightsabers.
Too. Right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Let's make a Bantha.
Here's what you're going to need. Some pre-cut sheets of felt. You can get these at pretty much any craft store ever. Some fur to cover him with. A needle and thread for sewing. Some scissors. Something to make eyes out of. Burton used buttons, but we're going to be using googly eyes. And some stuffing to fill him with because we don't want a very flat plushie. So the first thing we're going to do is take 2 rectangles of felt and cut them both in half. And we're putting them on top of each other to make that a lot easier. So we have 4 pieces all together to make his body. Or hers. Or theirs. You gotta use all of the pronouns. So now we're going to sew these into like a box to make it the body. So we sewed everything together to get our little box, and now we are going to cut some end caps and sew them on, so we basically get a big loaf of bread. Okay, so we have our loaf of bread all stitched together, except for on the last stitch we left half, which is because all the stitching is on the outside, so we need to flip it inside out to make it look nicer, as well as we're going to use that hole to stuff it.
That's right.
We've made our little loaf of bread, and he is all stuffed and really cute and squishy. And now we're going to make his legs. So we're going to be using the same felt that we used for him. And we're going to basically do the same thing we did for him, but we're going to be making little cylinders. And then we're going to cut out end caps and stuff it just like we did him, and then we're going to attach them to him. And the only real thing, and one of the only things we need to keep into consideration is whether they'll hold him up when there's...
Yeah, so you got to make them big enough that when you put 4 of them on the bottom and they're stuffed, that they'll kind of hold him up and he's not going to flop over or crush the legs. But, you know, you make them decent sized and stuff them because they're like little squat guys anyway, right? So making some fat little legs for him, stubby little legs, is probably the best design anyway. And so yeah, we'll do exactly the same thing we did with this, except round. Yeah. He's making a cylinder instead of a rectangle, right?
Okay, so we've got our little feet, and now we are going to stuff them and put them on him. And hopefully he'll be able to stand up on them.
Looks like a little Minecraft pig, I think. And I will say, for the record too, that I was just thinking that, like, when I was in my early 20s maybe, if you had told me that at some point down the road, I'd be sitting on the couch, watching football, hand sewing a Bantha stuffy for my daughter's YouTube channel, I probably wouldn't have believed it. But here I am.
Okay, so we've got his feet on, and he's standing up on his own, which is really nice.
Yep.
And now we're going to work on the horns.
Bonnie, when she makes the horns, she makes like a little cone and then attaches them and then puts wire in them so that she can curl them around, right? What I'm going to try and do is make them curved already so that there doesn't have to be a wire in them, so he's all sort of plushy and soft. And like I said, this is how we did your fursuit tail, and it works pretty well. Yeah. So really just, you know, kind of do some sketches and make sure you get the size and the curl the way you want it to be, and then cut out 2 pieces of the felt like this, sew them together, turn them inside out, and stuff them, and they should hold that shape pretty well. Yeah. And then just repeat on the other side, and you should end up with a couple of horns.
So the horns are on, and now we're going to move to putting some fur on him, and he's almost done, and I'm very excited.
He's getting close. He looks pretty cute, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, you know, as with most of like the fur pattern things that I'm working on, I always like to do just a paper pattern. So it tells me kind of, I want to wrap the fur all the way down both sides, and then he has some little, Bonnie calls them, it's very funny.
Hipster bangs.
Hipster bangs. So you gotta put the fur so it comes down a little bit and makes his little hipster bangs for his eyes. And one thing I'll tell you, so I'm just gonna trace this out and cut it out on the fur that we've got. And I will say, you know, I did some stuff with fur for Presley's fursuit. And it's always good to cut these with like an X-Acto knife or a Sharpie, or not a Sharpie, but an X-Acto knife or a cargo knife kind of thing. A razor blade. And cut it from the back. Don't cut through the fur here. Like if you cut it with scissors, you get these really flat edges that you can see how they cut it when I bought it. And they cut all the fur when you cut it with a scissors, so it makes these weird edges that don't look good at all. But if you cut it from the back with an X-Acto knife, you get a really clean edge with the fur still intact, so his little hipster bangs will work really well. Yeah. So I made a little mouth. It's just like folding the felt back and forth a couple of times, like if you used to make the little fans.
Yes.
Mommy, did you used to fold the little fans?
I did. This is my obsession.
Like you make the little fans, you just fold it a couple of times, and that gives you this cool little mouth shape. And then we're gonna hot glue it on instead of sewing it on. So. And like as much as I love Bonnie Burton's vandalize thing, which I do, I love it. I think it's an awesome idea. Like every time I've tried to do it, I've spent like half an hour trying to get the backing off of the eyes so that I can stick them on something. I don't know what it is about these things, but it's next to impossible to get the little sticker off the back so you can stick them somewhere. That's why I'm hot gluing these on. Okay,
so it's all done and it looks really, really cool.
I'm actually pretty proud of him. I think he came out pretty good, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's actually really easy. Like in the evening, you spend a couple of nights on it. You know, you could certainly take your time and do some really good things with it. Right? I think it's really easy. So thank you, Bonnie Burton. As always, it's an awesome craft. I'm really glad we picked this one.
Yes.
We'll be doing some more out of the book as the new Star Wars stuff comes along, I'm sure.
Yes.
Right? Cool. All right, and Presley was going to follow up and build one herself too, I think. Right?
Yep.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, you want to sign us off?
So yeah, thank you for watching and a smile. Bye.
Bye.